Welcome to New Images. Have you ever watched a scene on television or in a film and wondered how do they do that? Many camcorder users have, but until recently they've not been able to replicate the quality or style. February '97 saw a group of student filmmakers commence the shooting of a TV drama, crewed by a mixture of first-time filmmakers and a number of industry professionals. The whole thing was to be shot on the new Sony DV format. What you're about to see is a snapshot of their experiences.
Well, I met James and Jules. They were part of my society at university, and then I was working on a postgraduate film for Napier called Coming In From the Cold, and I was ADing on that, and I needed second ADs, and they were some of the second ADs that we had, and they were sort of telling me about this film, and they'd written this script, and they'd been really desperately trying to get actors, and they didn't really know anybody who could crew for them, etc. And I said, well, I am interested in producing as well, though I want to direct as well. And I said, well, let me have a look at the script, and if I like it, then I'll produce it if you're nice to me.
Saw it in the paper. Wanted fat geezer. So I thought, that's me. No, it was actually a thing in one of the free papers, the Herald and Post, I think it was. One of these things that are dropped through your door every Thursday or whatever, you know, telling you that 2 books from Stockbridge Library have gone missing. You know, one of these really exciting newspapers and that. It was in that, and it just said that they were looking for people. So I phoned up the number and eventually got through to Julian or James Wicked. So one of them, I don't know which one it was, but they were both sort of flitting about at that time, and they set something up for like a while after. They just wanted to get people's names together and stuff like that, and then they phoned me up a good few weeks after I first saw the advert, and then set up an audition, and I went along to that. And they said it would take a few weeks after that before they decide, because they were seeing a lot of people over a few days. But maybe about 2 weeks later I got a phone call saying that they wanted me to play the part of Tony English, and that was it.
We spent totally just over two grand, because they decided to put their own personal money into it. I mean, we discussed all that up front. I said, if we want to shoot on whatever format, you know, this is what it's going to cost, etc. Yeah. And we fully budgeted it. Though we ended up paying for our location, which we didn't initially want to do at all, but we really, really liked the location, and it was their money, so although I was producing, you have your hands tied to some respect.
What were they charging for the warehouse?
It was basically, if we were filming during the day, then it was for nothing. We could have it for nothing, electricity and all the rest of it. I mean, they were really good about that. Yeah. But purely because we wanted to film at night, because our film was set at night, and we've got all those open windows, we needed to have it at night. You couldn't film during the day, and you couldn't black all those windows out. Purely so they had somebody there for security, otherwise they weren't covered by insurance. So we basically just had to pay this guy's wages. I mean, they gave us the electricity free. I mean, they really, really were good. Yeah.
Well, I figure that if an alien landed on that film set and had a look at what everyone was doing, they'd see the cameraman, he's doing that, the actors, there's a guy with the sound, there's a little girl ordering everyone about, he wouldn't be able to work out what I was doing, because I'm just the guy in the corner stressing, shouting action and cut. So it was an interesting experience.
Would you do it again?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But there was a lot more to it than I originally thought, and I found myself learning on the job, which probably isn't the best way, but it was the only way to do it on this shoot.
And what did you think of your actors?
Better than I thought they'd be. We didn't have a lot of time to rehearse it, and so I was basically relying on them to do the job when I shouted action, and I didn't give them much direction during the shoot, and whenever I did, I'd say, do you think you could do that a bit more? And they'd be like, yeah, okay. Just completely focused on it.
After just 3 days shooting, a major sound fault is discovered.
What was the worst bit of the filming for you?
2 bits. End of the 3rd day, down in a pub, being told that the sound for the last 3 days was, well, there were basically big problems with it, on the distortion levels, as you know.
Yeah.
The other bit was probably 7 days in, doing manic interiors at my own flat, and not really knowing what I was doing, why I was doing them, having to tell the sound man, no, we don't actually need you, and everyone thinking, what's going on here, and feeling out of control.
Day 3 was quite bad. I'd had to go to this party that I couldn't get out of, and they'd been paging me all evening, and it hadn't got through to me, and they phoned me up the next morning, and so it's day 4, and they go, we've got a fault in the camera, and like, it's definitely a fault in the camera, and we don't know about sound, and I was like, swearing, and and then I went, right, so we better find out, and I discussed it with Duncan, and he basically said, you know, you hadn't picked up any fault, and it was distorting on the low sound, and we phoned up anybody we knew who had the 1000, which is the model before, and nobody else had the 9000, so they were all like, oh, that's very interesting. So eventually I said, well, Glasgow Film and Television Workshop, they've got you know, the digital technology, so we can presumably play the tapes in their machines and find out whether it's a fault with the tape, because obviously, or whether it's a fault with the playback system in the camera, or which we were hoping it was, because that way obviously the sound's all right, or whether we've actually got a major problem on our hands.
Would you